Okay, so sorry I haven't posted in so long. It's finally summer vacation, so I'm gonna try and post more. But Avengers Endgame, I know I'm super late on it, but I just saw a video showing how, oh hey, this is all the flaws in Avengers Endgame. Okay, so let me go through them. First of all, Thanos. The video said that, hey, why could Thanos survive? Okay, but Tony couldn't, right? Thanos was stabbed right through the heart with um Thor's um new a new hammer, not hammer, with Stormbreaker, right? Right, and he snapped, and and that was pretty, and he survived. But when Tony did it, he didn't. Why? It's because Thanos is a Titan, and they're way stronger. Remember when the Guardians of the Galaxy were going against Thor, and then when Doctor Strange and Iron Man and Spider-Man infiltrated that spaceship to go to where Thanos was, and then we got that line where it's like, "How do you want better? What's Gamora?" Right? They only got a little score out of them. Yep. Doctor Strange, the sorcerer, right? The sorcerer, right? Who has connection to little magic. Spider-Man, who was smart enough to make a web fluid that could carry himself and tie his enemies for a considerably long time, given how skinny and the fact that they're webs, you know? Okay? Okay? The fact that he actually knows how to keep his identity hidden, okay? Okay, and the fact that he knows when he can get help, right? That's why he asked Ned to deactivate the baby protocols on the suit Tony Stark gave him, right? An incredibly intelligent young person, like incredibly intelligent, like far smarter than what should ever be possible. Star-Lord, who's the leader of the Guardians of the Galaxy, along with the Guardians of the Galaxy with them, and Iron Man, who has nanotech armor, right? They only managed to get a single little drop of blood, right? And Thanos said, all that for a drop of blood, right? So yeah. Thanos is a Titan, and Titans' bodies are incredibly strong, right? That's why Titan, which is what Thanos is, and Titan, which is an alien in the Marvel universe, has incredibly strong bodies, insanely durable and strong. So that's why he managed to snap. And we can see that the stones were still powerful, that they still heavily damaged a powerful being like Thanos. Right? So a powerful being like Thanos, right? Right? Who like the Guardians of the Galaxy and members of the Avengers only managed to get a drop of blood out of him, was heavily damaged by the Infinity Stones. Right? We can establish that. How would you expect a mere mortal to do it? A mere man. No, my personal theory is that the only reason he could even do it was because of the arc reactor. My theory was that the only reason he was even able to survive that long was because the arc reactor was giving him enough energy to survive, and the nanotech was healing him. Well, was healing him just fast enough, right? So the reason Thanos survived the snap, even though Stormbreaker went right through his chest, was because his body is incredibly durable and strong. And even then it heavily damaged him, while Tony Stark is just a regular human being. And the only reason he even survived was because of the arc reactor and his nanotech. If he didn't have that, I'm sure he would have just died as soon as they went on him. Okay? Why did Hulk die? Why was Hulk's arm damaged if the Infinity Gauntlet gave off, if the Infinity Stones give off gamma radiation? The reason is because he tried to bring back Natasha. If you don't know, for one of the souls, the Soul Stone, I think, someone you love has to sacrifice themselves for you to get the stone, right? So when you do get the stones, you can't bring them back, right? That's what Hulk tried to do. When he was trying to snap, he was trying to bring Natasha back, right? Because she sacrificed her life for the Soul Stone, right? But since you know someone has to sacrifice their life for the Soul Stone, you can't bring them back, not even using the Infinity Stones. So no matter how hard he tried, he just couldn't do it, right? But the Infinity Stones were giving off so much gamma radiation that it was even hurting Hulk. Okay. Why can Captain America use those powers if he only has Mjolnir? Because that's what Odin spelled it. Remember when he was like, those who are deemed worthy shall possess the powers of Thor, right? He said that, or something similar to that. He basically did a spell on Mjolnir, and he said that, hey, if you're considered worthy, then you can have the powers of Thor, right? Well, if you can lift the hammer, then boom, you have the powers of Thor, right? So that's why when Captain America lifted it, he was deemed worthy, right? Because he would sacrifice himself. He already did. He sacrificed himself to stop Red Skull. And he doesn't always go to violence. He tried to talk to Bucky multiple times while he was brainwashed and only fight it because he didn't listen. And he saves people's lives when he can, which is pretty close to the definition of being worthy for Thor's hammer. And since he was deemed worthy, Odin's spell says that whoever lifts Thor's hammer can also possess the powers of Thor. Right? So, yeah. That's why he has the powers, because if you're worthy to lift Thor's hammer or Mjolnir, you also get his powers. You don't like steal them away from him, right? Because we see a Stormbreaker, but you get his abilities, right? Right? One thing I didn't like about Endgame was the whole time travel thing. That should have just been cut. The beauty of Infinity War was just that it was simple, right? There's like 6 to 7 Infinity Stones that are insanely powerful. If you collect them all, you can snap, boom, wipe half of the population of the entire universe away, right? So you have to stop this guy from getting them, right? But one of your friends has the stone in him, so you need to fight his army off while you try to get it out. They fail, he gets the stones, he wins. Right? That was simple. But then they put in time travel, which is a huge mistake. And it also undermines I'm just Thanos, right? The stakes aren't high enough, right? 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 Like, instead of fighting Thanos, you're just fighting his past version, right? You already killed Thanos, but there's another one. That kind of lowers the stakes. And also just makes it way too convoluted. What they should have done was this. Right after Thor put Stormbreaker in Thor's chest, he said, no, right after Thor put Stormbreaker in Thanos' chest, Thanos says, you should have aimed for the head. He snaps. We see all those people dust. He goes. Right? But then he uses the Infinity Stones to heal himself. And once he's fully healed, he takes the Infinity Gauntlet off. Right? Right? So then what then happens is that the Avengers manage to steal it. Right? Right? But then they realize, hey, what if we just erase the Infinity Stones from existence? Right? Right? But they don't want to do that because they want to revive everyone first. Right? So Hulk snaps, he revives them, but then Thanos' army attacks, and Thanos steals the gauntlet, and he goes to the final showdown. They do the final showdown, boom, they're fighting, right? Then Tony grabs it, his nanotech makes a new gauntlet. No, rewind. So they steal the gauntlet from Thanos, and then they're like, hey, we should destroy the stones with the stones. But they're like, no, we need to save those people first. So using some nanotech, Tony makes a new glove for the Infinity Stones. And he basically tells Hulk that this will help him. Because because when Thanos snapped, the power was so much that the glove actually melted and fused into him, right? So what the nanotech glove will do is that as soon as you snap, it'll immediately come off. It'll immediately dispatch, boom, and then it'll drop to the ground. So then that way, your arm doesn't melt with it, right? Hulk snaps, it goes off, right? And then Thanos' army attacks. So then Tony grabs it and he runs away, but then Thanos sends one of his goons after him, and while he's fighting, Thanos steals the gauntlet, right? But Tony was smart. He actually put multiple trackers in there, right? Because he realized that, hey, if Thanos does steal it, which he's probably going to do, why don't I just put multiple trackers in it? So he also made it so then that way the nanotech will scan your DNA, and if it isn't recognized, it'll inject you with a tracker. So that's what Thanos does. Boom, he's injected with a tracker now, right? Right? So he's about to snap, but then through a portal, Iron Man flies out, right? And then he uses his nanotechs to move, and he makes like a big giant shield. You know when you like hit Thanos right here, and you're like, hold that for a drop of blood. He does that, but like in front. Then he hits Thanos, and he was aiming for the gauntlet, but he missed. So he flew back up, and then he went back to his original position to go with the plan. Everyone comes in, they do the battle, boom. Get rid of that time travel stuff. Alright? I do have a question though. Why didn't he just use the reality stone for no reason? Right? Like, there's no rule saying that you need all of the stones to use them, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But why didn't he just take the reality stone, and the time stone. Boom. Put them on, and then use the reality stone to erase Thanos and his army, right? Boom, they're dust, right? Because the reality stone can alter reality. So just, and then use the time stone and the reality stone to make it so then that way it can only be reversed by the Avengers and no one else. Boom. Oh, hey. Oh, I have the, Tony, I have the gauntlet. Mr. Stark, I have the gauntlet. Give it to me, kid. Thanks. I'll just be taking these out. What are you doing? I'm just gonna grab these two stones real quick. No, what are you doing? Ah, Mr. Stark, what did you do? Well, I used the reality stone to erase Thanos and his army from existence. And then I used the reality and time stone to make it so then that way only the Avengers could reverse it. And anyone who betrayed us couldn't. And since it's only two stones, I'm probably gonna be fine. Right? Or what they could have done was that they could have just given the gauntlet to Captain Marvel. She could have just gone and snapped, boom. Right? Like, at least come up with a reason. Maybe this happened, right? Right after Thanos snapped and he cured himself, right? Boom. Boom. He was completely fine now. He used all the stones to make it so that way you would need all of them for them to work. He uses all the stones to say, hey, if you want to use even one of the stones, you need all of them, and you need to put them in a gauntlet of some sort, and then you can use them all or individually. If you just want to use one, you can't. You need all of them, right? So that way they didn't try that. He just puts it on. I'm using the reality stone and make it so then that way you need all of the stones to just use one. So then that way nobody could use the reality stone to erase me from existence. Right? Right? Or why didn't he just do this? Hey, I'm gonna use the reality stone. Boom. Now only I can use the infinity stones. Boom, he wins. Right? You have to have some sort of consistency, right? Right? But now I'm not like a diehard Marvel fan. I love Spider-Man, right? Doctor Strange is a good character. It's just that he could be better, right? Tom Holland Spider-Man, it's like, okay, first of all, we barely even see him swing, which I don't get. Right, one thing I loved about the Amazing Spider-Man was that we got to see him swing, right? Spider-Man is known for his swing, and Tom Holland barely swings. Toby does it a lot, but Andrew Garfield does it the most, right? Tobey Maguire has more personality, right? He has more personality than Andrew's. Andrew did try his best, but I feel like Toby's was just much more emotional and meaningful. Well, Tom Holland captures the good that's in Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And hey, if you want a wise quote, I just made this up. Either I saw it on the internet and I forgot, or I made it on myself. Sometimes, for a hero to help others, they must help themselves first.